Good evening, everyone. It's me, Lavendar MoonRain, and it is time for story time. Now, these story times are going to be about old stories that will scare you, and you won't be able to go to bed at night. The first story that I'm going to tell you is called The Big Toe. A boy was digging at the edge of the garden when he saw a big toe. He tried to pick it up, but it was stuck to something. So he gave it a good hard jerk and it came off into his hand. And then he heard some little groaning and scampering away. The boy took the toe into the kitchen and showed it to his mother. "Oh, it looks nice and plump," she said. "I'll put it in the soup and we'll have it for supper." That night, his father carved the toe into 3 pieces, and they each had a piece. Then they did the dishes, and when it got dark, they went to bed. The boy fell asleep almost at once, but in the middle of the night, a sound awakened him. It was something out on the street. It was a voice. It was calling to him. "Where is my toe?" it groaned. When the boy heard that, he got really scared. But he thought, "It doesn't know where I am. It will never find me." Then he heard the voice once more, but now it was closer. "Where is my toe?" it groaned. The boy pulled the blankets over his head and closed his eyes. "I'll just go to sleep," he thought, "and when I wake up, it'll be gone." But soon he heard the back door open, and again he heard the voice. "Where is my toe?" it groaned. Then the boy heard footsteps moving through the kitchen into the dining room, into the living room, into the front hall, then slowly climbing the stairs. Closer and closer they came. But soon they were in the upstairs hall. Now they were outside his door. "Where is my toe?" the voice groaned. His door opened. Shaking with fear, he listened to the footsteps slowly moving through the dark and onto his bed. Then they stopped. "Where is my toe?" the voice groaned. "I got you." Okay. The big toe also had another ending. When the boy hears the voice calling for its toe, it finds a strange looking creature up inside the chimney. The boy was so frightened he couldn't move. He just stood there and stared at it. Finally he asked, "What you got such a big eyes for?" The creature answered, "To look through and through." "What you got such big claws for?" "To scratch up your grave." "What you got such a big mouth for?" "To swallow you whole." "What you got such sharp teeth for?" "To chomp your bones." Alright, The next story is called The Walk. My uncle was walking down a lonely dirt road one day. He came upon a man who was walking down the road. The man looked at my uncle, and my uncle looked at the man. The man was staring at my uncle, was scared of my uncle, and my uncle was scared of the man. They kept on walking, and it began to get dark. The man looked at my uncle, and my uncle looked at the man. The man was very scared of my uncle, and my uncle was very scared of the man. They kept on walking, and they came into the big woods. It was getting darker, and the man looked at my uncle, and my uncle looked at the man. The man was really scared of my uncle, and my uncle was really scared of that man. But they kept on walking. Deep down into the woods they went. It was getting darker, and the man looked at my uncle, and my uncle looked at the man. The man was terribly scared of my uncle, and my uncle was terribly scared of... Ah! Alright, the next story is called What Do You Come For? There was this old woman who lived all by herself, and she was very lonely. Sitting in the kitchen one night, she said, "Oh, I wish I had some company." No sooner had she spoken than down the chimney tumbled 2 feet from which the flesh had rotted. The old woman's eyes bulged in terror. Then 2 legs dropped to the hearth and attached themselves to the feet. Then a body tumbled down, then 2 arms and a man's head. As the old woman watched, the parts came together into a great gangling man. The man danced around and around the room. Faster and faster he went, and then he stopped and he looked into her eyes. "What did you come for?" she asked, in a small voice that shivered and shook. "What do I come for?" he says. "I come for you." Next one is Untitled Chapter. There was a haunted house where every night a bloody head fell down the chimney. At least that's what people said, so nobody would stay there overnight. Then a rich man offered $200 to whoever would do it. And this boy said that he would try if he can have his dog with him. So it was all settled. The very next night, the boy went into the house with the dog. To make it more cheerful, he started a fire in the fireplace. Then he sat in front of the fire and waited. His dog waited with him. And while nothing happened, but a little after midnight, he heard something singing softly and sadly off in the woods. The singing sounded like this. Untitled Chapter. "It's just somebody singing," the boy told himself, but he was frightened. Then his dog answered the song, softly and sadly it sang. "Lynchy, crinchy, colly, molly, dingle, dingle." The boy couldn't believe his ears. His dog never uttered a word before. And then a few minutes later, he heard the singing again. And now it was closer and louder, but the words were the same. Mitai do Tiwaker. This time the boy tried to stop his dog from answering. He was afraid that whoever was singing would hear it and come for them. But the dog paid no attention, and again it sang, Lunchy, crunchy, cloudy, molly, dingle, dingle. A half an hour later, the boy heard the singing again, and now it was in the backyard. The song was the same. Mi tai do ti walker. Again, the boy cried to keep his dog quiet, but the dog sang louder than ever. Lunchy, crunchy, cloudy, molly, dingle, dingle. Soon the boy heard the singing again, and now it was coming down the chimney. Mi tai do ti rocker. The dog sang right back. Lunchy, crunchy, cloudy, molly, dingle, dingle. Suddenly, a bloody head fell from the chimney. It missed the fire and landed right next to the dog. The dog took one look and fell over dead from fright. The head turned and stared at the boy and slowly opened its mouth. Ah! The next story is called A Man Who Lived in Leeds. Some say this rhyme doesn't mean anything. Others are not so sure. There was a man who lived in Leeds. He filled his garden full of seeds. When the seeds began to grow, it was like a garden filled with snow. But when the snow began to melt, it was like a ship without a belt. And when the ship began to sail, it was like a bird without a tail. And when the bird began to fly, it was like an eagle in the sky. And then the sky began to roar. It was like a lion at my door. And when the door began to crack, it was like a penknife in my back. When your back began to bleed, I was dead, dead indeed. Anyways, I guess that's enough for now. I think these are like little kiddie story times. But I thought it was just kind of fun to do in the dark. I was trying to be quiet because it is 3 o'clock